It's 20 minutes on the ground!
Welcome to 20 Minutes Underground, your online, weekly, YouTube, reptile show for reptile enthusiasts like Oos. That's why he is here. This week, we're looking at amphibs, specifically salamanders. Look at this. We've decided we had so much fun. We're turning all our box turtle pens into salamander pens. We're going to breed salamanders. So we got a bunch of dirt. We have a 30-foot by 20-foot pen, and we're just going to make it like a big wasteland for salamanders. I'm going to throw every kind of salamander in there and see what breeds. That was a whole story. That's not the truth. I'm sorry. We're just doing this to wet the box turtle pens down, and went out and got a truckload of dirt. Anyway. This week we're going to show you guys some of the salamanders we picked up on our vacation up in the Smoky Mountains across a few states in the mid part of the eastern region of our beautiful, beautiful, God-blessed country, the US of freaking A. Japan does have that giant salamander. I wish I had one of those. If there's any Japanese people that watch this video and you can get me one of those salamanders, I'm telling you, I'd pay big money. I'd sell Sean. Would you want one of those salamanders? Would you let me trade you for a giant salamander?
They're worth way too much.
Probably not.
You can't trade him for one of those.
I'm worth way more than that. Just put that out there.
Shut up, man. Too much talking. Enjoy the show! Boss!
Underground reptiles. Time for red F's. The coolest lizard in the world. See this circular device? This is kind of like Ryan's venomous trick. He thinks you can put a snake in a circle and it won't get out. Same thing with the F's. What do you know? You put them in a circle and they can't get out. These are God's simplest creatures on the planet. And that's why Ryan loves them so much. If his little girls draw a lizard, it looks like a red F. Now, red F, the word F actually means larva stage of a newt. And they can have almost a patternless body, up to about 20 or 30 spots on them. And they can be anywhere from a bright orange to a reddish color. As you can see, some of them just have this fire red to them. And we've done so much trying to study red F's to see where they live and what they do. And at first we thought, because when we were finding them, they had all this white stuff in their belly, we thought they were eating mushrooms. And then we started finding them underneath the mushrooms, but we realized they weren't eating mushrooms at all. They were eating the flies that go underneath the mushroom. And in doing so, they pack their bellies with mushrooms. We know they aren't vegetarians. We feed them fruit flies and crickets and stuff for this stage. And you can see down here, this is the moss that we use to keep them in. They're a drier animal. You see, the adult stage of the red F is what we have here, the eastern newt. These guys all range from possibly really northern or northern Florida, maybe lower Georgia and South Carolina, all the way up to Maine, as far over as Michigan and Indiana and stuff. Now you can see that their moss that we keep them in is extremely drenched because they have these paddle tails. They live in the water. So what happens is when these guys come out, you can see the ones we have, their backbone's real thin, hind legs are thin, bellies are real fat. Obviously it's time for them to start laying their eggs. So they lay their eggs, and then you have this even larva stage of an F that has gills. and they swim around with their gills, and then they start walking up the mountain. And that's where you'll find the red efts. After it rains and it stops, they start coming up from the root system and start walking around. And red efts are the easiest animal to catch, especially if you're up in New York or any of those northern states. After a good rain, there will be literally thousands of them to find. If you're finding thousands, give me a call. We want them all. Give me a call. We want them all. So it's something extremely fun to catch because they're so easy. Now, the eastern newts are very easy as well. You can find a lake and get a big old net and start scooping them out of the lake and dump them. We've gone to some places where we can dump them a bunch of dirt and leaves and stuff on the ground after we scoop it out of the water. And little Cammy Joy and, you know, my wife and the girls will dig through the dirt looking for the eastern newts, so those are real fun too. But what a cool, simple animal. As you guys look at them, they will stay in this stage for sometimes up to years. Some will change over extremely quick, but they could stay up there for 5 years, and then they start getting darker and darker and traveling more towards the water until they turn into eastern newts and get that paddle tail to them. So awesome animal. Everybody loves red efts. If you don't, you suck. We don't like you. But support Underground by buying all our red efts and sending us more red efts. We want them all. Only at Underground Reptiles.
Keeping along with the theme of salamanders, one of my personal favorites, Pseudotriton ruber, the northern red salamander. Now these things are so cool, it's amazing. They eat almost anything they can fit in their mouth, including other salamanders. Now what's really neat about them is they start out as babies with gills underwater, and then at some point when the weather permits or when the water starts to dry up, they start to turn color, they lose their gills, and they start to turn red. Look at that animal. Now what's really cool about these northern reds, especially the ones where we get these out of, look at his face. Look at his lips. His lips and his mouth have a little mustachio. See, he's got a little mustachio? You see his do you see his mustachio? Hi, my name is Mustachio. Isn't that cool? Now the older they get, this is cool, the older they get, the darker color. So now this is, I wouldn't call it ugly, but this is definitely one of the older. Look how dark it's got. The white, the reds have almost all but gone to a rust. Big. Now he got his tail smashed off. I don't know how. I didn't do it, I promise. Now what's cool about these things is where they come from, they like cold water, but they come from very hot areas. So it can be 95 degrees out, but because they live in cold water, where you find these things is in natural springs. So you could be in the middle of a 95-degree day and you find a natural spring where the spring head actually bubbles up out of the ground, and you've got this little, kind of like a little creek bed area. And right underneath the bank, you dig out under the bank and you pull this stuff out under there where the water's bubbling up, and all of a sudden you see 5 or 6 of them. People think that these things are scarce. They're not scarce. They just live under the mud and under the water most of the time. They breed under the water, they come out. This time of year in the summer, they actually will come on land, eat, and then retreat to the water back in fall. Great animal. They do great in captivity. They're not too expensive. Beautiful animal. Only. Not only, but they're at Underground.
Another cool salamander for you salamander freaks. And for all you guys that don't like salamanders, you're gonna have no idea what I'm talking about. It's gonna be boring to you. But for those who are really into salamanders, some of these you've never even seen. This is called a 2-line. This is called a 3-line. What's the difference between a 2-line and a 3-line? 1 line. That's it. This is called a Blue Ridge 2-line. And this is called a long-tail 3-line. They get extremely long, and this is what's so crazy about salamanders is that you can have something like the black-bellied dusky that's just as long as them, but as fat around as your thumb. And they're extremely skinny. They're almost like the frilled dragon of salamanders. They have that tail that's 3 times their body length, and that short little body. But these guys will thrive off any little bugs you feed them. They like to stay wet in wet moss, but they will not go fully aquatic ever. They will stay on the banks of creeks. They will stay in little springs, and so will these guys right here. They are a little more wet than, let's say, your spotted or tiger salamander. So you're going to want to keep them a little more drenched. Or if you want to do like a half land, half water type setup, that would be pretty sick as well. You want to do some waterfalls in there. Salamanders you can get pretty crazy with. They don't really like to be held. They're a little more jittery than your spotteds and tigers. So as soon as you see them out in the wild or you're picking them up in the caves, they're usually going to take off. And they will hide. This is not an animal that you will see out all the time. They will not roam the top like tiger salamanders. Even spotteds hide. These guys hide more than the spotteds do. But they will cohabitate with each other. If you want to put them with like the slimies or some duskies, you can do the same thing. As long as you don't do them big duskies that'll chow them. But these guys are not carnivorous, or they're not when you eat what you are. What's that called? What is it, Drew? Cannibalistic! Haha! High school dropout, baby. Only in underground reptiles. Cannibalistic, they are not. Put them with a lot of different types of salamanders. Really cool setup. But something that you will probably not know anyone else that has them. Long-tailed 3-striped salamanders. Blue Ridge 2-striped salamanders. Very cool salamanders that don't come around too much. Extremely inexpensive. Pick some up and make your collection raw.
Okay, now staying on the whole amphibian theme, if you come and look at this thing here, this is a tadpole, but this is a very interesting tadpole. This is a tadpole of a American bullfrog. These come from the northern states, as far north, as far south as Georgia, but these are real big. Now, what's really cool about them is they don't all change at the same time. Sometimes you get these bullfrog tadpoles that are like the size of golf balls, and sometimes they start to change. Now, you see how he's already got legs coming out? It's not the coolest thing in the world. They live in water. They'll eat anything they can put their mouth on. I mean, these things will eat each other. They'll eat worms. They'll eat anything living. But look at this thing's already got legs. And his front legs are going to start to come out soon. Come on now. Isn't that the coolest thing in the world? The thing is growing legs. God is awesome, man. That is proof to me that God is awesome. Look at that thing. He is so beautiful. And when they turn into frogs, man, you ever seen a bullfrog? Not that. That's not a. That's an African frog. It's an African bullfrog.
Okay, sorry. Okay. Oops.
American bullfrog tadpole. Available right now at Underground Reptiles. And they make great bait too. Man, fish love them. Bass bait.
I was gonna go in the background. What are they like? Metamorphitate?
Metamorphitate, man.
Underground Reptiles, we are literally underground. That's why it's so dark. We have these axolotls, GFP axolotls. And reincarnation is probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. But I guess if you were wanting to be another animal, why would you not want to be something that glows in the dark? Axolotls are like aquatic salamanders from Mexico. And they get about 15 inches. Crazy looking animal, especially when you put this black light on them. And this is what's called a GFP. And all the GFP morphs are ones that glow. And you can see the difference in here between our albinos are leucistics and are normals. The ones that are all yellow are albino and leucistics. Leucistics, dark eyes, albinos, gold eyes. And if you end up getting a pair of axolotls, it's a great breeding project because they produce so many. We've had a few customers that have only had pairs that have sold us tons of them because they give off so many babies. They get about 12 to 15 inches, and you can put them in a tank with some fish. I've seen it done before to where they wouldn't eat them. Another cool thing is that, dude, they will literally eat off each other's feet, toes, legs, and they'll be swimming around with just a tail and nubs, and they will grow them back. So maybe they are reincarnated. You never know. But I'd probably rather be a human than a stupid aquatic salamander that glows. But for an animal, it's awesome. Get yourself a GFP axolotl at Underground Reptiles, so that way you can sit in the dark with them when you're at home by yourself, lonely,
So lonely.
underground.
I have
Buy yourself axolotl at Underground Reptiles and make your life amazing.
Oh, so lonely.
Hey, it's Moody Boodi here, and I'm especially sick today. Mostly sick of you guys and your comments, but on a serious note, I'm feeling pretty friggin' crappy. So we'll try to get this done quickly and as painlessly for me as possible. We've got our 3 contest comment winners that were giving their opinions on what the question of the week should be. And good news, some of you guys might hear your question of the week on a future episode of 20 Minutes Underground. You'll be winning some dishes with bones and skulls, because I feel like I'm at death's door right now. I know you guys are sympathizing with me and feel terrible for me, as you should, because I'm so very important for your lives. You can send me get well cards. I enjoy chocolates, massages, those really cool balloons that say get well. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Save the sissy flowers for Inbred Ned. Anyways, let's get to our comment winners before I have to stop blowing my nose. First up, we got Shy Moose 461. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, Shy Moose 41. For the next question of the week, he says he wants to know, why does Moody Boodi sound like he smokes a 6-pack a day? Well, Shy Moose, my voice sounds kind of raspy. That's because I'm sick, you jerk. Way to make fun of me. You know, people like you, you're a real bully, aren't you? Anyways, I'm gonna be throwing this through the front windshield of your car. Enjoy. Next up, Jeremy09JM says his question of the week is, what was the first reptile you ever caught in the wild? Well, the first thing I ever caught in the wild was an inbred Ned. And it was quite disturbing, I'll tell you that. He sure does wiggle around a lot. But once you start hand feeding him, he calms down nicely. You'd be surprised what he'd do for a honey bun. Anyways, our third and final contest comment winner is Trevor G. He's the younger, even less talented brother of Kenny G, evidently. His question of the week is, I don't even understand how he worded this, but I guess what he's trying to ask is if you could go herping with anyone, who would it be? And then he goes on to say how he would like to go with Moody frickin' Boodi. But let me tell you something, kid. Let me shut this phone off, first of all. That ringing is giving me a killer headache. I'm gonna have to take some cold headache medicine in a minute. This stuff works great, guys. Airborne. That's a free publicity, whatever, I don't know what they call it anymore. Send us money, Airborne. We just put you on TV. Anyways, so what I was trying to tell you, Trevor, before the phone rang, was that you should aim a little bit lower in life. I mean, Moody freaking Boodi, that's a big star, that's a big name, you know? You should try to aim for something like that weird guy that works here that eats crap off the ground. And other nasty things, you know who I'm talking about. What's his name, Stevie? Yeah, that's it. Aim for him. If I could go herping with anybody, I don't know. I guess maybe it would be me. Because there's nobody better. Anyways, guys, that's it. I've got to go take some Robitussin and 10 other items to feel better here. Your comments have made me even more sick than when I started. So thank you very much. And stay tuned. Enjoy. Yeah, Andrew. No, hold that for me.
Yeah. Well, that's 20 minutes underground. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the salamanders as much as we enjoyed collecting them. Obviously we didn't collect the ones in Russia and stuff like that, but we did enjoy it. If you do collect salamanders or anything and it's legal in the state that you're in, we're always interested in buying stuff. Look for future episodes with more tegus, and my baby tegus are starting to blow. Thank you guys so much that have already purchased them and have put deposits down. We cannot thank you enough, man. We cannot. You're a blessing from God to us. This week's question of the week is, first of all, the reason we got all this dirt is because we're going to bury that fat slob Moody Boodi. I don't need him to decipher my questions. So he will pay the ultimate price, his life, which according to his wife is worthless anyway. He's worthless, he does nothing at home or at work except yell at people. However, this week's question of the week is the same as last week's question of the week. What is your favorite non-conventional food to eat? Such as, I happen to like alligator bites. They're delicious, especially if they're cooked Jamaican style, Jamaican jerk style, Jamaican, whatever. What do you like? Do you like venison? Do you like frog legs? We want to know, and we want to know the, they want to go. It's all dirty up here, guys, and you guys are wearing nice dresses. And you guys that keep commenting on my daughters, it's a good thing it's over the internet, commando, keyboard commando, because otherwise you'd be buried under a bunch of dirt. Thanks so much for watching. We love you guys, and as always, you get free crap for the best comments, and free crap is good. Whoosh.